Welcome to JSA TV Europe, together with the Greener Data Movement for this quarter's live event focused on European digital infrastructure sustainability. I'm Jean-Marc Lim, and joining me today is Diederik Wennekes, co-founder and commercial director of TransIX. Diederik, thank you so much for coming on board and for speaking to me. What's happening in the European connectivity space, it is very, very interesting. And we're building infrastructure at the speed of light, almost literally, to keep our millions of people connected. But when you look into the connectivity business in Europe, do you think this is an area or a segment or a market that is green enough or on a good path to become climate friendly?
Yeah, as you said, we're going with light speed at the moment. All data centers are, especially in Holland, are the green power, do you call it, is going really fast. Everything has to be exactly right for power consumption. With the latest modification is the EFV. So we need to put every server on a balanced mode to have the correct way of using the power in all our hardware. So yeah, especially in Holland, not sure about the rest of Europe, but it goes really fast. The standards are high that need to be met.
Yeah, we were there just a couple of weeks ago for an event, and the sustainability conversation. What's happening in the Netherlands is completely different. Not completely, but it's slightly further ahead of some other markets in Europe. But when you look into the Netherlands, what else do you think the industry should be doing more or better to really advance this sustainable movement forward and really become green?
Well, the initiatives that are running at the moment, for example, heating up homes around the data centers, it's a really good way of using the warmth generated by data centers for the people, because Holland is a quite small country. They try to do the edge thing here, but if you throw rocks, you hit the data center. So, and especially if you place it in near where people live, we can use all the warmth generated by the data center to houses. I think there are a few big initiatives at the moment running. I think it's called block heating. And they have a really good proposition in Holland to make sure we use everything that's needed.
Interesting. So in your opinion, the industry is going in the right direction in its goal for 2030?
In Holland it is. Not really sure about our direct neighbors. The market in Germany, in Belgium, and in France are completely different, of course, than the Dutch. We always want to be the first in everything. Yeah. And after a few months, years, the rest follows.
Yeah. And some slightly different challenges as well in those bigger markets they mentioned, especially on the back of the power crisis that Europe is going through. If we look into TransIX now, so the company that you run, talk us through what do you exactly do? What markets do you serve? Is it just Dutch, or is it also outside of the Netherlands? And who your clients are?
Yeah, we're a managed service provider. We're one of the flexible managed service providers, as I like to call it, because we don't have a specific market we serve. For every customer, there is the correct solution. For example, I said edge, or on-premise hardware, or in the data center, or no hardware at all if you don't need it. We try to get as close to the customer as possible to have the best solution. In Holland, we have a lot of solar power for bigger companies. So currently we're looking into moving some of the workload to the customers. There is an energy crisis, but it depends on who you ask what the crisis is, because we generate a lot of power for solar, wind, especially the Nordics countries. Currently, the problem is the grid. We have so much power we can't distribute it correctly. But if we move some of the loads to the customer, the bigger customers, we should have some more green initiatives, but that's still an early idea. If it uses the edge, it doesn't really matter how you call it.
Interesting. And then, sorry?
edge or on-premise. It's here in Holland.
And then if we look into how TransIX itself is becoming or turning or improving its greennesy of business, what's the company doing around being sustainable? And that can be any scope. The three scopes can be, what are you guys doing to become green or greener?
Yeah, internally we try to have some green initiatives like lunch, make the movements of our colleagues as little as possible. If you don't have to drive, don't drive. And I call it. We do the last few years. We really put everything in our own clouds, in our own data center. So we went from 40 racks to 20, just to lower the power consumption. Next to that, we're trying to look into some initiatives to compensate the footprint. One of the ideas is maybe plant trees and stuff like that. We need the power. We need to but we can compensate it by other ways.
Interesting. And then, so if we look into the next 12, 18 months of business strategy, what are the plans for TransIX?
Yeah, currently we are, last years we did a lot of private clouds. We did some public clouds, but Dutch people rather have their own hardware. Yeah, it's all about control, of course. Yeah, Netherlands, yeah. If you buy it yourself, it's cheaper, and I can't argue with that, of course. Well, the next following years, today we're going to publish a partnership with a cloud supplier. What we want to do is place more smaller clouds in Netherlands and use the power combined. There are some big examples in America, for example, I think Chick-fil-A. Not sure about the company that uses every branch has its own Kubernetes platform, and they use the combined power to supply their whole application or their infrastructure. We want to do the same in Holland because you can have 20 people that buy a private cloud but only use 1/3 of it. You better can maybe deliver 10 and use 100% efficiently. So that's one of the things we're working on the following 12 months, deploying that in Holland, and see if people want to join.
Interesting. Well, I mean, hopefully they will. But it is an interesting concept because it's almost like build your own clouds, or like BYOC, yourself a drink, just bring your own cloud.
Yeah, bring your own cloud and use your overcapacity. One of the things in Europe is especially against the bigger giants like Amazon and Microsoft. All have a great product. It works perfectly. No, not always, but it works. But we don't have a really European version. Some of those initiatives, I can say it crashed and burned, or still crashing. So bring it back to the end user and starting small, we should be able to have some proper way to go on against the bigger guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the use case and the case studies that came out of it. There was a story yesterday, and I can't remember what company it was, but they said they saved about $400 million by not storing with AWS. So because they got their own service, so they went and built their own thing, and saved a lot of money.
That's one of the things we saw in the last 8 years. A lot of developers just keep on adding machines, and it's excellent. It works until the CFO comes to you and say, "Why we're paying this much?" At the moment, my biggest plus against the bigger guys is that the CFO comes to us. Listen, we're paying 70, 80, 100 euros a month. Do we really need it? Our company looks into the design, what you actually need, and I think 9 out of 10 times with a single investment, or they will be a lot more cheaper. Because example was somebody who paid 80,000 euros a month. We built a platform for 600,000 euros that can last them for 5 years. and can do almost the same, except for some nice tools that the big guys have. So I got a signature really quickly.
No, that's interesting, but I think you'd also need a partner like yourselves to come and build it, because if people start going on their own and building their own things like in the old days, what it used to be before we got into public cloud and the whole thing, cheaper doesn't always mean greener.
No,
in a way.
No.
So that's why external partnerships are needed to help manage the loads and make sure that the equipment is being used to its best uptime.
A great example there is that if you want to build it, it's really complex. You need a lot of people, a lot of engineers, and at the moment we don't have enough especially in Holland. I think it's for the rest of Europe as well. But how we can do it, you just make a small cloud server where you can have your production 24/7, let it run, and do something like a Veeam, a Cloud Connect. Put it on our data center where we share a bigger platform for a lot of customers. And if you need to evade because for Dutch your office is underwater, we can start it up in our data center. But in the meantime, it's just down, doesn't use anything. It's just for you the security that you can continue your business. We have a lot of customers there. So, yeah.
Okay,
but they need companies like us to have a proper design and especially work out the costs, of course.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the big difference between building something like this today and the ones that used to be built before public cloud, so the on-prem enterprise system before the cloud. It's really the external partnerships that come in and bring all the skills and the management platforms as well, in a way. So, but then, Diederik, so if people want to learn more about what Transex does, and then, of course, keep up with the news of what's coming, especially the announcement later today, how can they reach out and be in touch and follow you to find out what's going on with the business?
Yeah, of course, they can visit our site. .com is already online for the English version. And they can always contact me or one of my engineers. We're currently with 40 people for MSP in Holland. It's how do you call it? Big enough. What we want to grow, but we want to keep the direct connection to the customer. If they want to meet, email, text, WhatsApp. I don't have Facebook, but I do have Instagram. No, Facebook. I don't have TikTok, Snapchat, but I use the mail and my mobile. And we as an engineering department, we lack a little bit in marketing, but for us it works because people find us because they know really straightforward, and we tell what you need or what you don't need.
Yeah, and sometimes delivering a good product is more powerful than any marketing campaign. That will come to top up the work that's been done, but the important is to really deliver a good product that people are happy with, and then business will follow. It's always the way. Good business attracts good business.
And we are known for our 24/7. We monitor everything. We have customers that are in the oil, so we monitor the big ships. We have accountants, agencies, a lot of bigger companies that rely on us for monitoring their complete infrastructure, and of course react if there's something goes wrong. Security is a high demand at the moment, of course.
Oh yeah, well, especially in the days that we live. But Diederik, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then as for you at home, thank you for joining and for watching JSA TV Live. And don't forget to check our social channels for more content. Until next time, happy networking.